And if you are in government and you're not using AI as a check, as a productivity gain, as a way of making things more efficient, then you are being negligent. Let me give you an example of this. I wanted to see if I could help our province out. So what I did recently, I went to the government of Alberta's open bid site, and I wanted to see what bids there were. And I noticed that there was a bid from the city of St. Albert. They're looking for a recreation and park city website overview. They want recommendations on how to improve their website. And so what I did is I went to this AI agent known as Proxy by this company called Convergence, a London startup. It is an AI agent that can crawl the web. And I literally put in the details of the RFP into this AI. And what it started to do is actually take a look at the actual website and start to create some of the recommendations based on what the RFP is all about. It's literally, the agent is literally looking at that website. And by the way, this is free. Then what I did is I put this into OpenAI's new tool called Deep Research. It essentially gives you a McKinsey-level report on their recommendations of what they can do around this website. And then, instead of responding to the RFP, I actually thought, let me just build this website for them. So I went to a site called Replit, an AI tool, where I started to build the framework of what this website might look like. Not only give them recommendations, but build it out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is ridiculous of where we are today. And my belief is that if you are in any governmental organization today, your RFP should be, I've already checked with every single AI tool on the planet and all the recommendations that it's given me. In fact, we've already generated 100 AI solutions around what this might look like. Now help us out. There's a lot of people that will come on a stage like this and talk about the future of work and what the future of work is. In my opinion, the future of work is already here, and it's going to be AI powered. And let me show you a glimpse of what the future of work actually is. This morning, I woke up in my hotel room, and I wanted to try this new tool that Google has. Google Gemini has this tool where they have a real-time co-presence AI that will just be on the entire time. And I wanted to ask it questions about an industry that I'm not familiar with, which is the automobile industry. So what I want to do is I want to show this AI a random a park where you had all these cars scattered around to see if it could help me identify these cars. This is a real-time AI that's working with me. So let me show you.
Hey, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. How can I help you today?
Sweet. I was just wondering if you can help me take a look at this salvage yard with all these cars and help me identify what some of these cars are.
Okay, you would like help identifying some cars in a salvage yard.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Please share the video and I'll do my best to help identify the cars.
Yeah, sure. Hold on one second. Let me share this with you.
Yes, I see the video of the salvage yard. There are several cars parked in a row. Do you want to start with the first car in the row?
Let's start with the first car on the right. Yeah.
Okay, the first car on the right appears to be a white Buick.
Okay, what's the second car?
The second car from the right appears to be a light-colored sedan, possibly a Chevrolet or a similar make.
You see this orange car right here on the right? What is that?
The orange car on the right appears to be a Kia Soul.
I know nothing about cars, and it's able to identify these damaged cars and give me that information. You see what's happening? AI will be our co-pilot the entire time. Take this example and apply it to healthcare. Apply it to a surgeon. Apply it in education for a kid trying to learn mathematics, social studies, history, science, physics. The future of work is here. And what's happening with AI is we are starting to reimagine everything that we know about work. You know, somebody would stand on a stage like this for decades and say this one line, this idea that we should begin with the end in mind, something inspirational, that we should start with a vision of where we want to go and solve problems to get to that particular vision. I don't believe with begin with the end in mind anymore. I believe with the idea of build with the end in mind. Today, we can literally build the future. What does this mean? You can start with 100 AI-generated solutions, 100 AI-generated concepts, 100 AI-generated pieces of inspiration, 100 AI-generated websites, whatever it might be. Then you go through your creative process, then you get your final output or deliverable. I don't believe that AI should be the output, the final output or the deliverable, but it could be the starting point to so many things. We are rewiring how we look at work. You know, one of the beautiful things that I get to do is I get to go all around the world talking about this beautiful word known as innovation. And people ask me all the time, they say, hey, where are you from? And I say, I'm from the deep north in Canada, this place called Alberta. They're like, is that near Toronto? And I'm like, yes, it is. It's right next to Toronto. And then the second question they always ask me is, what keeps you up there? What's up there? And I always tell them one thing: grit. Northern grit. You see, when you're from the north, you don't have all the resources at your fingertips. You don't have all the talent at your fingertips. You don't have all the heat. You literally have to get up every single day, overcome the obstacles, and get stuff done. Northern grit. You know, there was an interesting study in the Journal of Economic Behavior and Organization where they took data from 98 different countries to understand what does it mean to live in this kind of environment. And the research was compelling. They discovered that people that live in this environment, they correlate themselves to these attributes of perseverance and industriousness, that in this region, we actually value hard work, and we have hardworking people. And as it turns out, Northern grit is not a slogan. Northern grit is scientific evidence. And that's why I'm incredibly proud to be from this region. I'm incredibly proud because we have some of the best people in the world. But perseverance and grit can only get us so far. I believe we have to work smarter now. We have to work smarter. And my belief is that today we live in a world of infinite leverage. What does this mean? Today we can leverage all these things around us. You can leverage teams, other employees, agencies, vendors, partners. You can leverage individuals, freelancers, contractors, gig workers around the world. You can leverage media. How do we tell a better story? How do we tell a better narrative? You can leverage software, cloud, APIs, software as a service. You can leverage this AI space. All these platforms that are coming up. And the more that you ascend this pyramid, the less people you require. Today, you can do way more with way less. And to me, this AI space is actually not the most disruptive entity in the world. To me, the most disruptive entity in the world is the individual. Because today, you can do exponentially more with way less. And here in the North, we've been always asking, how do we get more people? How do we get more resources? How do we do more with less? Well, today you can. We live in a world of infinite leverage. And my belief is that you can build a one-person, $1 billion organization here in the North with very little resources around you. I think this is inspiring.
Thanks for the presentation.
Absolutely.
I'm really curious. I'm a technologist and a business leader, and I work in innovation as well.
Yes.
And I do leverage and I believe in AI, but what I hear is a lot of promoting AI because something that I think a lot of people don't think about, especially when we're thinking about supporting Canadian economies, is we're giving away our data for free when we use AI platforms. There's license agreements and intellectual property layers.
Correct.
Where does our data live? Who owns it? Who has access to it? So data sovereignty and data residency was something that I didn't feel you touched on your presentation. And I love innovation, but I also love very responsible innovation.
Yeah, 100%. Love that question. Thank you so much. That is an incredibly important part of this AI discussion, which is around privacy, regulation, data residency. And that's a conversation that I would love to have with you. I'm not sure if data residency is on the minds of everyone in this room. If you're seeing what's happening in the AI revolution, increasingly, the platforms that are going to be winning in this space are open source. code that you can actually put on your own desktops. And in fact, people are already taking these open source models and applying it to their own organizations, their own industries, and their own desktops where the data is actually stored locally. And so I'm incredibly optimistic about this open source revolution. Open source will always beat closed source because the cycles of innovation are going to be faster. If you saw what happened with DeepSeek, this news that came out a couple of weeks ago that obliterated NVIDIA stocks, part of the reason why there was so much panic is because this Chinese company known as DeepSeek created a model that is exponentially cheaper than what OpenAI and some of these big companies have created. And also, it's open source, meaning I can run it on my own desktop with my own local servers. And so you're going to see that happen more and more companies are going to leverage open source. And I heard that Kevin O'Leary is going to bring a huge data infrastructure piece here, $70 billion. I don't want to comment on that because that's exciting. The news is exciting. Let's see it happen. That's what I would say around the data piece, and I'm happy to have a conversation afterwards. I thank you so much for that. I think we had a question here. This is fun, by the way, Tom. Yeah. I'm liking this.
You had vaguely brought up in your thing about how when we think about AI, we think about a lot about how it's just students in universities using it to cheat in college. Now, someone who works at a university as well as attends a university, I'm curious what you think would be a positive or a blessing to have AI within our universities.
Yeah.
Where it's rather not students cheating, but however, what ways that we can use AI to be a positive within our universities.
Love that question. Love that question. I'm incredibly bullish about higher institutions. I think higher education is an incredibly important playground for people to learn about themselves, to develop networks. I think social capital, human capital is going to become disproportionately more important to the idea of community in this AI world. So that's going to be important. But I fundamentally believe that the way that people learn is going to fundamentally change. To me, it's not about memorization or facts. It's like, I don't want my kids to just know the facts about the Civil War. I want them to know the underlying reasons as to why it happened. Why do we do what we do? It's about human behavior. It's asking those deep questions. It's about being better problem solvers. And that's what I'm hoping that universities can teach a lot more. And of course, I know we've been trying to push away in many institutions this AI revolution, but it's like, how do we get them to get enabled around this? How do we use all these tools around them? And it's going to change every single day. So two things. Number one, it's like, how do we become better humans? How do we ask better questions? How do we work together as human beings in more intimate ways? And then also, how do we get better at some of these tools? And so that we can produce people that are fit for the future. Now, my kids are younger, right? They're 8, 5, and 2. And people ask me all the time, what are you going to do with your kids when it comes to this education system? And the answer is, I have no idea. I'm trying to figure it out just like you. This space is changing every single day, and I have no idea. But my belief is that if we all are experimenting, trying, having these types of conversations, having these provocative conversations, the more that we can move forward. So I appreciate that question. Do we have one more question? Is that okay? One more question, then we'll.
You touched on this briefly, the energy that's required to run AI. And we've talked with we're in an institute, and a lot of the younger students don't want to use it because of the environmental footprint. So do you see it becoming more energy efficient?
100%. Yeah. So it's a great question. Like I mentioned with the previous example, for example, the DeepSeek company out of China, they've shown that they were able to actually get a 96% energy improvement from their models. The other thing is that I think AI is going to help us unlock more opportunities to save energy, to come up with new industries when it comes to energy. So I think it could be a great accelerant to help us get to where we want to, where maybe the cost of energy goes down exponentially. So I appreciate that question. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm honored and humbled. The work that you do is incredibly important. This is the reason why I live in this province. I will never live anywhere else, but it requires everybody in this room to continue to innovate, to experiment, and to disrupt themselves. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much.
What a way to kick off a conference. Shawn Kanungo, ladies and gentlemen.